all right, so a cool thing that I think has been, we've, like, discovered the levels of my friends respecting correct pronoun choice
That
and
is
stuff.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, it's interesting to me because as my best friend, I've talked about Lauren a lot, and everyone kind of knows that I have a trans friend, but, like, maybe I didn't mention
Make it
that.
clear that
Yeah.
it's me.
Like, maybe I didn't say his name is Lauren. Maybe I didn't, like, you know what I mean? But, like, it's probably come up with most of my friends. And, like, also where I'm trying to work on a comic about the experience, like, it's come up with more people.
Mhm.
So, whenever it happens, like, you can see the spark of recognition where I'm like, this is my friend Lauren, and then I'll say he a few minutes later, and they're like, ah. Yeah. And I think also people might just be like, you know, I don't think people are shocked that I have someone in the queer spectrum visiting me for a while.
Well,
like,
your friend Jared, I think it took him a while to realize,
Mhm.
even though I was like, trans.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, that is funny. Maybe he thought the other way. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that, which is
Like-
funny. But
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can see that. Like, if you were thinking maybe like you just started growing your hair out,
Yeah.
and you're just still dressing fairly like masculine, or
Yeah.
you know, like maybe that's what. Which is sort of neat. Isn't
That's
that kind of
kind of
cool that you
awesome,
can like
now that I
pass
think
as a
about
trans
it.
woman? I think that that's neat.
that's pretty cool.
But the funny part about like watching my friends to me is that I was just like waiting for somebody to be disrespectful because I would have fucking killed them. And yeah, I was just like in a very sort of mean way. I was like watching my friends and being like, "Better be good. I will get you in your sleep. It's gonna happen." Whereas like for you, you said the experience was more like everyone seems so much more respectful than you're used to because I think like they were like prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am not out to like 80% of the people at home. 95% of the people at home. It's, really a very small group of people that know.
Yeah. Whereas here, I guess, like, there's not a lot of
Mhm.
risk.
Yeah, here I'm, out to everyone because this is not where I live, and my parents don't live here, and shit like that.
So, what was it like, actually, like, binding and everything going to Stonewall?
Fun.
Yeah?
I mean, I guess you remember, when I was doing that, and I, like, saw myself in the mirror, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I look really boyish, and I was kind of afraid to go out because I look so good. It sounds really vain, but it's shocking to see yourself look so much like the way you want to see yourself. I mean, I didn't pass. It's going to be a different thing when I pass. Like, it's going to be a totally different game. Going out, binding, doesn't even feel like a thing to me anymore. It used to be more of a thing, but people don't notice. That's the thing. I don't know. Like, I can bind, I can wear all men's clothing, and people just don't notice. Like, even at school, towards the end of the semester, I was wearing all men's clothing, and no one said a word. Although what I did think was really interesting was that, so in my one of my art history classes, I, without thinking, even signed one of my papers as Lauren, without even thinking about it. And so the next day I came to class, and my professor was handing back the papers. He was calling out names, and he called me Lauren.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And
he called me Lauren for the rest of the semester.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Yeah.
And then people who I knew, in those classes and stuff, started calling me Lauren too, which I like because I didn't have to tell them to call me Lauren.
Yeah, and that's the thing that, like, whenever I have been introducing you to people, obviously I don't want to be like, hey, make sure you make this shift, you know? And I just don't feel like it needs to be mentioned, and so that's why, like, we'll just say he, instead of being like, hey, cut that out. Except for when people slip once they already know, then I'll be like, what else have we Oh, I was going to say about changing names. In a weird way, I can sympathize, although I don't have any of the rest of it. Like I just have the name thing because I would rather have my maternal name than my paternal name. But obviously, like every other American, my legal last name is my father's. And so since I'm trying to make that shift, like it can be a little weird. And like the strangest thing to me is that throughout the summer, I only hear Cait Cool. And like my mom's German, so Cool is the real last name. It just sounds made up.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It works.
So I get so used to that like this because this past summer especially I made this full shift and like everyone called me Cait Cool and people actually took it better. Like I really expected people to be like, oh, that's stupid. You're just changing your name at random and not respect it.
I've been really bad about it. Like, I gotta say I'm really sorry that haven't
been
keeping up with it.
It's okay because like the thing is you so rarely have to say a last name and so I don't even have the drama of dealing with the full name. But then the weirdest thing to me was going back into school and hearing Caitlin Delzell and being like,
wait, that's me.
Who is that? Yeah. I'm like just it sounds like it's some different version of me entirely. And so like I can kind of understand because it genuinely I don't hear me when I hear that name.
Yeah.
So to some degree I can get that like disparity of being called your old name.
Yeah. What's up with Columbine?
Yeah, I was going to change my first name, and I still really like the idea of doing that for a lot of reasons. The character Columbine or Columbina was a character in Commedia dell'arte who is, I think, very feminist because she is basically the only person who's not made a fool of in the entire play, and she like refuses the advances of the Harlequin character and is generally awesome. And so I was going to change my name to Columbine, and of course nobody really likes the idea of naming yourself after what reminds everyone of a high school shooting massacre. And so I thought about just doing Columbina. And I actually, I want to get a half sleeve of flower tattoos at some point whenever I have the money for it. And I'm still going to get a Columbine flower because actually they are very neat, and I still associate myself with that. Like, I don't know, it's one of those names that as much as I love it, it is so unbelievably difficult to change your first name that unless I move to a whole different area, I probably won't. And so, like, that's why I kind of can't imagine having to do that. And you picked a name that's so close to what your name was, and even then, people still don't get it.
Yeah.
See, changing the name with you wasn't that hard. Like, I can refer to you as Lauren. That one didn't take me that long to shift. But, like, it's the pronouns that...
You've been so good with it, though.
Well, thank you.
No, I haven't heard...
You have heard me slip.
Yeah, but so few times. Like, yeah, I think you've been really good with it.
Yeah, and I hate that that's even tricky. Like, it's so... I don't know. That's just... Like, I try really hard, and, like, I'm glad that, in a way, that I had time to adjust
whenever you saw me.
Yeah, whenever I was mostly talking to you online. Because I think I probably would have slipped a lot more if I had seen you, right after you told me.